puertorriqueña. Yo te la traigo de Cupey, de Vega Baja y de Santurce, de todas partes de Puerto Rico.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Jeff and Joe's Puerto Rican Kitchen, where we show you how to make easy, authentic Puerto Rican recipes. Today, we're going to be making Dulce de Papaya, or Candied Papaya roughly translated. Now it's summertime here in Orlando, and there are papayas everywhere. Just last week, my neighbor came over and she had these 2 huge papayas and she was like, I can't eat all of these, like, have some. And I was like, thanks, that's awesome. And then I was like, man, what do I do with all of these? So I ate one, and then the one that was a little less ripe, I was like, let me make some candied papaya. It's the perfect way to save papaya for later, and it's an incredibly delicious treat. You guys are gonna love it. Now, in addition to being yummy and amazing, it's also super easy. So just a couple ingredients, guys. We got papaya. I like my papayas just a little bit ripe, but still green enough so they're really firm. Then we got a little water and baking soda that we're gonna dip that in. And then finally, to candy it, we got some sugar, some water, just a dash of salt, then some cinnamon, and some cloves. Again, guys, really easy. Let's get cooking.
Okay, the first thing we're gonna do is get our papaya ready. Start by cutting off both ends of the papaya, and then use a vegetable peeler to remove all of the skin. Make sure there is no more green left on your papaya, because the skin can have a very bitter taste. As you can see from the end of the papaya, I'm using a semi-ripe papaya. This means that the outside of the papaya is still green and very hard, but the inside of the papaya is beginning to turn colors, so it's slightly pink or orange. A lot of people use entirely green papayas, and we'll talk about that at the end of the video, but I prefer to use semi-ripe papayas as I think it has a better flavor. Once your papaya is peeled, go ahead and cut it in half in order to remove the seeds. Again, I like to use a semi-ripe papaya where you can see the inside beginning to turn orangish pink while the outside is still green. Once your papaya is cut in half, use a spoon to scoop out all of the seeds and to remove all of the inside membrane. Make sure to get all of this out, especially the seeds, as they too can be quite bitter. In the end, your papaya should look something like this. Once your papaya is clean, cut it into strips about ½ an inch thick. Obviously, you can adjust the thicknesses you see fit, just don't cut them too thin or they will fall apart as you are boiling them. As you cut your papaya, move them to a clean bowl. Then, once your papaya is all cut, combine 8 cups of water with 2 tablespoons of baking soda and pour that mixture over the papaya. You don't need to use all of the mixture, but you want to make sure you cover the papaya entirely. Let this mixture rest for 20 minutes in order for the baking soda to leach into the papaya. At the end of the 20 minutes, drain the papaya and wash it thoroughly with cold water. Now you want to get all of the baking soda off. Once rinsed, transfer your papaya to a wide saucepan, spreading it evenly across the entire surface of the pan. You'll want your water and sugar to completely submerge your papaya, so pack the papaya as tightly as possible. Once your papaya is in place, add your cinnamon, cloves, and salt. Then, pour in your sugar and water. Gently move the mixture, trying to evenly distribute the sugar and water without disturbing the papaya, and then turn your stove on to medium-high heat. If your papaya isn't completely covered at this point, don't worry. As it cooks down, the papaya will release additional water to increase the total volume of liquid. Once your mixture begins to boil, stir it gently. Put the lid in place and turn the heat down to low. We're now going to boil the papaya on low for about an hour and a half. Check in every 20 minutes or so, just to give it a little stir. As the papaya cooks, you'll begin to see the fruit get more and more transparent until it almost looks like jelly. Again, it took me about an hour and a half to get to this point, but it could be more or less for you depending on your stove. The thing you want to be looking at is the consistency of the papaya. Once your papaya is finished, turn off the heat and let the pot cool down to room temperature. Once at room temperature, you can eat it immediately, or you can transfer it to a container and store it in the refrigerator until later. Given the large amount of sugar in this, the papaya stores very well and will last for quite a long time.
So there we go, guys. Dulce de Papaya ready to eat. Now, I've actually got 3 different Dulce de Papayas out because I wanted to talk about some of the differences just to show that people do this dish in a lot of different ways. And that's not to say one is better than the other, people just have their preferences. So the first one here is what we made, what you guys saw. So I used ripe papaya, and I also dunked it initially in the water with baking soda. And so those 2 things are pretty big in terms of people doing different dulce de papaya. So first, right, do I use a green papaya versus a ripe papaya? So let's talk about that. I like to use the ripe papaya because I think the flavor is a little more complex. With the green papaya, the only flavor you're gonna get is the sugar, the cinnamon, and the cloves, which a very delightful flavor, but it doesn't really highlight the papaya. With the ripe papaya, you actually get a little bit of the papaya flavor along with all of the sugar and the other spices that you add. So I think it's great. Also, I really love the color. I think it gives it a redder color, which just seems more appealing to me. And so these 2 here and here, this one is what we made. So again, using baking soda, and then it has the semi-ripe papaya as compared to this one, which is the exact same recipe in terms of what we added. It just uses a green papaya. And so again, the big differences are the color. So with the ripe papaya, you have this kind of red interior with slight green around the edges. Whereas with the green papaya, you get the same thing, but you have a homogeneous green color throughout. And again, so these are both with baking soda. Now what the baking soda does is that I'm not really sure what the chemistry is, but it messes around with the outside so that you get this kind of like shell on the outside of your dulce. So there's like a little, I don't know, it's like a little plasticky jelly like packet, and then it's soft on the inside. So it's, in both ways, right? So it happens with the green or the ripe, same idea. But if you don't do the baking soda, you just put the stuff straight into water and just boil it, you end up with a very different texture. And so this is a green papaya that hasn't been treated with baking soda before we boiled it. So it's basically just cut up the green papaya, put it in sugar and water, and boil it for a long time. And so with this one, you get a much more consistent texture throughout. It's just a soft texture. I don't even really know how to describe it. It's like a cross between like an apple pie filling, and it's a little more firm, but that's what's going on. But you don't have that shell on the outside. It's just consistent texture throughout. So again, those are the big differences, right? Do you put it in water with baking soda? Do you choose a green versus a ripe papaya? And so, you guys can play around with that, try things if you like. Again, like I prefer this one, that's why I showed you guys, but I would in no way say it's the best or that everybody will like it the same. I think it's great, delicious. It is particularly good with some cheese, like a big slice of queso del país, and this, oh my god, so good. People eat it a lot of different ways. A neighbor of mine says that she eats it with ice cream, so ice cream and candied papaya. Haven't tried it, but I have to imagine it's pretty good. But yeah, guys, hope you liked it. Hope you give it a try. You should really, really give it a try. It's not the most common dish, but it's incredibly delicious. So again, hope you guys like it. Hope you try it. Hope you hit the like button below to tell people how awesome this was. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video with your friends, with your family. Help us spread the love for Puerto Rican food. And then we'll see you again next week for another episode of Jeff and Joe's Puerto Rican Kitchen.